At 55, Ann Burrell, the bold, platinum blonde star of the Food Network, is suddenly gone, and fans around the world are in shock. But this isn't just a celebrity farewell. What really happened in her final days? What chilling message did she leave behind? And why did her private funeral leave even the toughest chefs in tears? This story goes far beyond the headlines. It's emotional, revealing, and unforgettable. Stay with us as we uncover the truth behind Ann's mysterious passing and honor the powerful legacy she left behind. You won't believe what comes next. To the world, Ann Burrell was a powerhouse. With her wild red hair, booming laugh, and bold catchphrases, she turned shows like Worst Cooks in America and Secrets of a Restaurant Chef into massive hits. But beyond the cameras and the chaos of competition, Ann became something bigger, a symbol of second chances. She took the hopeless, the insecure, and the overlooked and gave them confidence. She made people feel like they belonged. But in the final weeks of her life, something changed. For a woman as present and plugged in as Ann, the silence was deafening. She vanished from social media. No new recipes, no cheeky kitchen clips, just a single final post. A picture of her dog, captioned, "Grateful for the quiet today." Fans noticed. A Reddit thread titled, "Is Ann Burrell okay?" began gaining momentum. Some believed she was resting. Others feared something worse. At a charity cooking event in New York, just 3 weeks before her death, fans said she looked off, pale, tired, with trembling hands and a forced smile. Then came her final televised interview, where she paused when asked about future plans and simply said, "Just taking care of myself a little more." At the time, it sounded like reflection. Now, it sounds like goodbye. After her passing, the truth emerged. Ann Burrell had been quietly battling a rare autoimmune disorder, one that caused chronic fatigue, muscle weakness, and dangerous heart complications. She had been diagnosed over a year before, but told almost no one. Not her fans, not the public, not even many of her friends. She was afraid of being seen as weak. She didn't want pity. She feared the industry would move on without her. A producer recalled her nearly collapsing on set. She refused to stop filming. "If I'm going to drop," she laughed, "it'll be with a spatula in my hand." That was Ann, brave to the point of self-sacrifice. But that illness wasn't the only thing eating away at her spirit. Ann's marriage to longtime partner Stuart Claxton, once celebrated in a joyful upstate New York wedding, was quietly fracturing. The pressure of her career and the toll of her health were pushing them apart. Friends said Stuart had moved out temporarily. The sparkle that once defined Ann seemed dimmer. One of her kitchen colleagues said, "She just looked tired," like the fire in her had faded. Then came her final night. She canceled a cardiology appointment she'd already delayed 3 times. Instead, she stayed home, cooked dinner, lit some candles, and played jazz. Her neighbor recalled the smell of garlic and herbs drifting through the hallway. It felt like peace, they said, but also like goodbye. That same night, Ann sent a voice message to her best friend Erica, her old culinary school roommate. It started lighthearted. She thanked Erica for being there. She mentioned her dog. "He's been glued to me lately. Animals know things, don't they?" And then came the final line. "If anything ever happens to me, just know I really lived." The next morning, at 6:17 a.m., her assistant found her unresponsive. She was gone. Next to her lay a handwritten letter addressed "To those I love." It thanked her family, her fans, and expressed peace. But even more emotional was the journal found days later in her kitchen, next to a cup of chamomile tea and her favorite red pen. It wasn't just recipes, it was her heart on paper. The final entry read, "I've lived boldly. I've worn my hair high, and my heart on my sleeve. I've cried in kitchen corners and laughed so hard I burned food. If this ride ends soon, I hope people know I was grateful, even when it hurt. Then came the line that would soon go viral. Let people remember my fire, not my silence. He revealed they had spoken 2 weeks before her death. She'd asked him to come over. She said she missed him. I said I needed time, he admitted. But now I've run out of it. Then he pulled a note from his jacket, in Anne's handwriting, written in red ink. It read, "Let's not waste any more time. I still believe in us." He never replied. Even the toughest chefs were wiping away tears. But as the grief spread, something beautiful happened. Fans around the world began to cook in her honor. #$CookForAnne exploded on social media. A woman in Ohio said Anne's shows helped her survive a divorce. Today, she owns a food truck. A young boy with autism learned to speak by copying her lines from Secrets of a Restaurant Chef. A chef in Sicily toasted her memory with a glass of red wine. Even Guy Fieri called her a sister in sauce. And Bobby Flay, often seen as her rival, wrote, "You made me better." But perhaps her most powerful legacy wasn't a dish. It was a manuscript. Tucked away in her home office, beneath a stack of well-worn cookbooks and scribbled recipe notes, was Anne Burrell's final masterpiece, a memoir titled Feeding the Fire, Stories from a Life at the Stove. But this wasn't just a collection of culinary tips. It was raw, unfiltered, and deeply personal. It spoke not only of her journey through the high-stakes world of food television, but also of her private battles, the relentless pace, the body image insecurities, the backstage loneliness, and the pressure to smile through exhaustion. In those pages, Anne revealed the truth behind the spotlight, the sacrifices, the silence, and the strength it took to stay true to herself. Industry executives told her to soften, to tone it down as she got older. But she refused. Bold until the end, she left this message for aspiring chefs. This life will chew you up if you let it. But if you keep your fire not just in the kitchen, but in your heart, you'll thrive. So if you've ever felt exhausted, unheard, or pressured to keep smiling through the struggle, remember Anne Burrell's story. Be bold, feed others, and always eat dessert first. If her journey moved you, like, share, and subscribe for more real stories that matter. Let's keep her fire burning by living fully, fiercely, and with flavor. Thanks for watching.